Welcome to the URBONUS podcast. Welcome back. We're here in the studio. Get used to seeing and hearing us on the Fridays usually. I think just after the first game round week usually. Game round day, I guess I should say. We're not going to wait until Mondays to talk about these games. We'll take them on while they're still hot. And today we have the long-anticipated return of our fan favorite Rytis. I mean, he's been here a few weeks ago, but now again, you're back in the studio without the duct tape on your mouth that Panathinaikos fans sent you to have during the podcast. For some reason, you took it off, but you're here. We're glad. And Augustas, of course. And no Donata so far. Still day-to-day status. EuroLeague fever still got him. To be honest, he's just actually very sick, and now he's recovering, I think, right?
Yeah, he's doing progress, and I think he should be here next week already.
Next week, yeah.
And we are going to have 2 episodes next week.
Double week.
So one is going to be a Q&A episode. The other one is going to be public. A lot of games on Tuesday to cover, but I think let's get into the games that happened already this week.
We could also reply to one of the comments saying that URBONUS without URBONUS is like Souvlaki without Saziki, which I read as it's a pile of shit without him, basically. Or is it more, let's say, giving flowers to Donatas? Or is it just, criticizing us?
I don't know. The person who wrote this comment, I saw it, by the way, as well. So I think he should say what he had in mind.
Comment down there.
I assume just that in the title it says with URBONUS. So it's like having a Pat Bev podcast without Pat Bev, and
Yeah, I get it.
So it's shit without Donatas. Yeah, we understood. No need to write the comment.
All right, let's get into it. Let's get to the biggest game of the week so far. That was the Istanbul derby. A lot of drama in this game. We can start from the fight between Elijah Bryant and Tarik Biberovic. We could go into the game itself and the comeback that Efes had at the end of the fourth quarter within the last 3 minutes, coming back from 11 points. And then Fener closing the game out with some clutch 3-pointers. But as a mixed martial arts fan, I would like you guys to give me your take on that scuffle that we saw under the rim.
That was pretty mixed.
It was a lot of
super
moves.
Mixed.
Yeah.
A little bit of Yabusele, a little bit of Luis Suarez, there.
Yeah, you sent the picture to our group chat of Elijah biting Biberovic on the arm.
But then you could see the pictures from the locker room, Elijah's shoulders with all the scratches. Look, the thing is that on the broadcast, you couldn't see it clearly.
Yeah. Exactly.
The only thing you could see on the broadcast, and that's what the ref saw on the screen, is that Biberovic grabbed Elijah Bryant by his cheek, which obviously irritated Elijah. And there was some action from him, but you couldn't see it.
Yeah.
Because it was behind the basket and there was no camera to clearly show what was happening. But after that, those photos emerged because obviously there was a line of photographers and they caught it. So you could see that he actually bit him on the shoulder. And then it continued, escalated. Eventually, the players gathered. I think it was Devon Hall and Nicolo Melli. They dragged Tarik Biberovic and Elijah Bryant was also pushed away. And, the refs had a decision to make. From the evidence that we saw, it looked like Tarik instigated it. And we couldn't know what was the reaction from Elijah Bryant. And for the refs, the safest decision was to eject both players. But at the time, it looked like it's unfair to Elijah at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's why I was surprised and I was confused. They didn't have the evidence to eject Elijah Bryant. So I was surprised because don't you need to have
But maybe
they did have some evidence.
Maybe one of the refs, the one who was standing under the basket, saw at least something, and he maybe said to his colleagues, "Guys, but I saw that this and that happened," and they had to react. But to me, of course, it was also surprising that Elijah Bryant was ejected. He also seemed surprised. And it was a bigger loss for Efes, obviously, because in the third quarter, Elijah was cooking. He was playing like...
He had 16 points up until that point, I believe.
In the third quarter, he played like Micic for Ataman, something like that. And Tarik was okay. I mean, this thing happened after his successful layup, but it's not like he looked irreplaceable for Fenerbahce when they have Bonzi Colson, Nigel Hayes-Davis, and other guys. So at the time, it looked like a big loss for Efes, that ejection. It happened, I think, with 1 minute left in the third quarter.
Yeah. And I would say, you say no evidence that Elijah should be ejected, but after Tarik Biberovic grabbed his head, he responded by going on top of Biberovic. We don't know exactly what happened within that conflict, but we saw that he sort of got on top and, maybe bit him. According to the pictures, maybe there was different moves thrown, maybe some punches or whatever. And as you can see from the replays, the referees were not that far from that situation. Two referees were quite close and they were running towards them. So I think they probably, relied on what they saw with their own eyes.
They acted like eyewitnesses.
Yeah.
Because there was no footage.
Yeah. And, obviously, like you said, the ejection hurt Efes more. But in terms of the drama in this game, I think if Ergin Ataman was still coaching Efes, we would have seen the full package, because Šarūnas Jasikevičius last week got into a conflict with Bartzokas. We know how Ataman likes to sometimes explode. If this was the Istanbul derby with those two coaches, I think the whole season we would get these gifts of drama just gifted to us.
Mijatovic looks like a really positive guy.
Yeah, he's so chill.
His comments.
So chill.
I mean, he's one of the rare coaches that when his team is down at the half before the third quarter, he takes his time to respond to the questions asked on TV, and he gives a pretty positive answer to that. So I don't really expect any circus from him,
Yeah.
And also that we have to admit that the Istanbul derby, it's nice in terms of basketball quality, but it's not hostile? The derby that happens in the hostile environment with crazy fans, because Efes, well, they're now in a new venue. I think the building was full, but when Efes is playing great, the fans get into it. But when they're not so good, it's silence. It's basically like in a library. And a couple hundred of Fenerbahce fans somewhere in the stands, they were always chanting and celebrating. And I don't really see this as a huge angry rivalry between two clubs from the same city.
Yeah.
But basketball-wise, of course, it's a great show.
Yeah.
Basketball-wise, I liked what I saw from Fener, to be honest. In the first two rounds, I'm liking a lot what I'm seeing from them. I think they are far from, of course, reaching their potential. It's just round two. It's logical thing to say, but
also they just lost one of their key players. Let's not forget. So
yeah, but just the core of Baldwin, Bonzi Colson, Nigel Hayes-Davis, and then one of those four guys that can play at the position 5. They have guys that can step in at the 2 role, or Žagar's playing at 1 and Wade Baldwin going to shooting guard position. Is just, their size, their length is impressive. Their energy. Yesterday they had 13. Sorry, that's Efes. I think 16 offensive rebounds. So they're just all over the place, and I like their defense. And in the offense, with this much talent in every position, they are going to score. And some things that really intrigued me is it was only for a couple of possessions, but like Nigel Hayes-Davis bringing the ball up, playing the point guard position, starting the set play, like then Wade Baldwin setting inverted screens for him. Like it's vice versa.
I think Melly did the same thing a couple of times.
Yeah, so it's intriguing things to me from Šaras. Great set plays as usual after timeouts, but it's just so many options with this team, and it's only round 2. They're looking really, really great, I think.
My main takes from this game, first of all, the positive ones about Fener, then I will get to the negative part about Efes.
Žagars.
Yeah, Žagars, of course. Good for him. I'm happy for him. You have to step up. One guy down, the other guy steps up. That's the way it should be on a good team. But that's not my focus. First of all, the way Šaras feels the game. You start with Sertac Shanli. It's bad pick and roll defense. It's obvious. He gets 3 early fouls, and from the very beginning, I thought this is not the game where we're going to see Boban. Because we saw Boban against Olympiacos. Why? Because Olympiacos don't have guards that can punish you with a floater, with a consistent mid-range shot. Like Thomas Walkup in the pick and roll, you would live with him shooting floaters. And then you're playing with Boban. Against Efes, it's probably not going to work. So I thought, yes, Boban is not going to be in the rotation. Shanley started really bad, 3 fouls. It's going to be Cam Birch and Nicola Melli. And that was the way to play for them. And Birch played with amazing energy. Defensively, offensively, I liked his honesty. Like after the game, he says, I'm not the most talented guy. I'm just here to help. And that's what he does. That's what he brings to this team. And then the Canadian center surprised me by hitting 8 free throws. Because I checked his career numbers. It was below
8 of 8.
Yeah, 8 of 8, 100%. And I checked his career numbers in college, in the NBA, 1 season with Olympiacos, the Canadian national team. It's always below 70. So now he's hitting 8 from 8 in a big game.
Rytis mentioned that a couple of times during the broadcast. I was watching it on with your commentary, and he really was surprised.
I was just surprised, but look, this new FS gym gives you a friendly bounce. There were like 3 free throws, or even 4 yesterday, where the ball goes in after hitting the back of the rim, which rarely happens. Usually, if you hit a free throw off the rim, it's from the front. But it's a small detail; it doesn't matter. I just wanted to emphasize how good it is when Cam Birch is hitting free throws, because he's obviously going to get fouled a lot because he's really physical. He's grabbing offensive rebounds. FS players were fouling him, and he punished them. So that's one takeaway: the center rotation. The other thing is the three-point shooting. I think it made a huge difference. Offensive rebounds as well. It was on Fener's side. Yeah. They said that they were really hungry after the Super Cup loss. They wanted to get revenge, and maybe that instigated them to do some extra work and to get those second chances. But the three-point shooting made such a huge difference. I think Fener in the first half, they were 8 from 12 at some point, and at the time Efes was 0 from 10. And there were some good shooters missing good looks, like Larkin, Beaubois, Schmitz wide open on a few occasions. So that built the 10, 15-point deficit that FS faced, which they cut by finally hitting 2 3-pointers going into the locker room.
There's such a huge difference. Like FS made 21 of 37 from the 2-point range and only 6 of 30 from 3. While Fener hit 15 threes out of 27 and only 12 of 40 from the 2-point land.
And in the end, 3-pointers even decided the game. Because FS tied the game by shooting threes, and Fenerbahce killed the game by hitting those daggers, Guduric and Žagars. So those are the positive things. I like Fenerbahce's defense so far. I like the idea, the way they are playing. We're just 2 games in, but they faced really tough opponents. They faced Olympiacos and Efes. These are 2 playoff teams, and Olympiacos is a Final Four team. So big credit to them. Probably they're still looking for
that's what we should get
additions.
To.
But I still wanted to say a couple of things about Efes.
Before you get there, let's finish up with Fener and then go to Efes. So we saw Žagar stepping up, as you said. We've seen him having glimpses of greatness in the World Cup. Then he was injured, but now extended minutes, 12 minutes or so. He was looking pretty good on the court, I think. Do you think it is necessary for them to have a replacement for Scotty Wilbekin, or is it enough to have just Žagars as a backup point guard?
I think they're definitely looking for a replacement. I mean, it's such a long season in the EuroLeague and the domestic league, and I think they're for sure looking for someone, but they can take their time. I mean, they have a deep roster. They have options. They see Žagar stepping up, so I think they will wait maybe for the NBA preseason to finish and then signing someone. I don't know, guys, if you agree.
Well, probably. I don't think they need to rush. You have Baldwin, you have Hall, you have Guduric, you have Žagars. I know Žagars will probably suffer against more physical, bigger teams.
Yeah.
But yesterday, there were some decent matchups for him. You could have him on the court for 13, 15 minutes. And
do you mean defensively he will suffer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Olympiacos example.
Yeah.
Immediately he got 3 fouls. Physical guards, Walkup, Williams Goss. It's hard for him. And even yesterday, he was there in the crunch time. He has Jordan and Vora. He's guarding him. He's big. So he just it was easy for him to shoot that floater.
When you have Larkin, then you can, hide him. And
you say it was easy to shoot that floater, but that floater was very far away from a free throw line.
It's always hard to make that shot. You need to have a certain skill, but the fact is, it feels uncontested because Žalgiris is not a guy who could contest that shot. But just, the EuroLeague physicality, he might be exposed on defense, he might be in foul trouble, but he has the skill, he has the willingness to improve, and he's brave. He's brave enough to play on that big scene. So that's why you can trust him and he can play some minutes. This rotation looks okay. I don't think you need to immediately sign someone like a panic signing. Honestly, if I could add one player to Fener to strengthen that team, it would still be a reliable center. Even after Wilbekin's injury, because, yesterday, Shanley, you cannot trust him in that game. He starts the game, Oturu is killing him. Then Cam Birch has to play extended minutes. Your other option is Melli, who you also want to have as a 4. Boban, he will only fit against certain teams in certain situations. So that is why I'm still thinking about a center rather than a guard. But of course, Scotty's loss is huge.
And the only other thing to add about Žalgiris, I guess, is his injury history. So you say you can rely on him for now, but at the same time is known as not the most reliable guy to stay healthy throughout the whole season. So that's why I guess, they would need to find someone else to replace Scotty Wilbekin. Did you have anything else to add, or should we move on to Anadolu Efes?
Just a quick thought. Even Cam Birch in the second half, as good as he was in the first one, made some mistakes defensively. Just a couple of slip screens for Arturo got him some easy layups. So, but just what Gytis said right now, the injury history, and I think still Fener might profit from a guard who can organize the game a little bit, who can help Wade Baldwin in this department, and against certain teams. So I think a guy who I would still sign like a combo guard, let's say, in that department, because you're not going to have 5 players who can play in the center rotation at the same time. So
that's true.
I probably had in mind like somebody might be cut from the team if they would sign a new center.
And because the Cam Birch and Boban have non-guaranteed deals. So you can, I think, in January, there is a possibility.
We heard something about that. I think Donata shared some info. At the moment, Birch seems like he's here to stay. Boban, I'm not so sure.
Let's see.
Okay. Talking about Efes, we didn't get a chance to talk about them last time. What are your impressions after these 2 games now?
Look, it's not like they lost badly. At the same time, I'm not sure how they were even in a position to win this game. Fener were up by 11 points, and they had a 3-on-1 fast break against Larkin.
That was ridiculous.
Bonzi Carlson opted for a free.
Yep.
He missed. They got punished on the other end. All of a sudden, it's an 8-point game. If they score from that fast break, the game's done.
Yep.
They're 3-on-1 against Larkin. There's 3 big bodies running towards the rim. For some reason, they choose this transition free. And I know Carlson was hot, but he was hot in the first quarter. It was in the past already. So that
just don't pass him the ball,
That decision was ridiculous in my opinion, and it opened the window for Efes to still somehow sneak in. And when the game was tied with less than 2 minutes to play, I was thinking like, how are we in this position right now? They were outplayed for 30 minutes straight.
35 minutes, you could say.
Well, the first 5.
The first 5, okay.
They were probably better with Oturu's energy.
Sure.
So I'm thinking like, what the hell is happening? Is Fener going to lose this game? Yeah, that would be insane. Okay, eventually they didn't lose. Efes still had a chance. They actually had some good looks even in the end of the game. There was a 3-pointer by Nvora. There was a 3-pointer by Larkin. Larkin is probably not in his best condition at the moment. But okay, they lost. This is not the main reason why I'm going to criticize them a little bit, because they just lost by 5 against a great team. The thing is, some of their new signings are not working at the moment. Like Vincent Poirier was a backup center at Madrid. He signed with Efes to be the guy.
Because he had a great season in Madrid, right?
He's not even playing in the second half right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because Oturu just looks so much better, and Mijatovic is trying all these different lineups, different rotations. He puts Willis at the 3, then he puts Willis at the 4. Schmitz plays some minutes as a 5. Then there's Osmani. There's all these guys. He's rotating, trying different things. It's not working, not clicking. Schmitz, again, another new signing. At the moment, doesn't have an impact. It's just 2 games in. I'm not gonna say that it's a nightmare, but these new signings right now are still not working. Stanley Johnson, I'm not sure what kind of impact he can have. Jordan Nwora, we expect him to be a scorer, a shooter, and he might be okay. But Stanley Johnson, I don't know if he's gonna be the right fit for EuroLeague basketball. And their offense is just so static. What I noticed yesterday, like there's only 2 guys playing basketball. It's the pick and roll. The guy who has the ball and the guy who sets the screen. The others are just standing there. I know you want to have good spacing and good shooters. It's fine, but it's too monotonous. It's every possession after possession. There's Elijah Bryant playing the pick and roll. There are 2 shooters in the corners. There's the other guy somewhere in the middle, and that's it. I mean, and you're playing against a really smart coach, Shara, so you probably need to come up with something different. So just the fact that they were in a position to win the game says that maybe they did some things right, but I didn't necessarily like the way they played. And yeah, that's it. Of course, if they hit some shots, it could be even better. They have potential. I'm not denying that. Okay, they're 1-1 right now. Moving forward, they will definitely pick up wins. Shane Larkin should get better. And Elijah Bryant at the moment seems like in really good shape. So
they need to sort some
it's
things
not
out.
all negative, but I just didn't really like the way they played yesterday.
What do you guys think is the differentiating factor here for Vincent Poirier's game not to translate in Efes as well as he played in Real Madrid last season? Because at some points last season we thought that he should be starting instead of Walter Tavares. He started a few games. And the game looked so nice with him on the court, and that play that they had Real Madrid with that alley-oop, like all these things made me think that it's gonna be not a breakout season for Vincent Poirier because he's already established himself and he's known as a good center, not maybe a star, but I thought in Efes he should be the main option. Now he's played 11 and 12 minutes in these first 2 games.
I think, first of all, look, you're playing in Madrid in the system that works for so many years. You're playing with Campazzo and Chacho. And as a center, you don't need to do that much.
And around you, the players that you have Hezonia, you have Musa, you have all-star, I mean, we don't have the all-star in the EuroLeague, but the stars in every position.
All EuroLeague material.
All EuroLeague material everywhere. It makes the game easier. Opponents can help from them, so it's an easier job for those who are playing in the pick and roll. Campazzo is a magician as a passer, Chacho as well. So, and now this is a new Efes team completely. We are seeing that they're still trying to figure out the rotations, the lineups. I mean, Jordan Nwora was amazing in the preseason. Now he's option off the bench, not playing that much. We're seeing that the new guys are struggling almost everybody. So I think it's still early, but definitely the players that you have around in the system, for the centers especially, it's a big deal.
The thing with the center position and with the expectations is that you're so dependent on your creators and on the system. Like if we are talking about a center who's dominant in the low post, well, it's different then, right? You can feed him, he can dominate the paint.
Or who can create from the
Mustafa
post.
Fall, take him for example, right?
But so few examples in the EuroLeague.
Yeah, only 3 or 4 names. And Poirier is not one of those players. He's not the guy who's posting up. He's not the guy you're looking for in some mismatch situations usually. He's really physical. He's great in the pick and roll. Defensively, he's okay, but at the moment, it's just like Oturu seems better at all these things. That's why he's covering 25 or 26 minutes, and Poirier is playing what's left. The same thing was in Madrid. He was playing 15 minutes. Tavares was playing 25. I don't know if this will change during the season, but my point is that Poirier is not the center who takes the game comes to him, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. All right. I think that's enough about Efes. We should move on to the next topic, which is Panathinaikos opening their renewed, refurbished arena, OAKA, and opened it with a win against Bayern, another German team. I did. But before we talk about the actual game, I wanted to talk about the arena because I feel like it was very modernized from what I saw in social media, on the broadcast, but what impressed me the most wasn't the seats, because I feel like the seats or the environment around, because I feel like you have to be inside to actually have an opinion on it, but it's called ASB glass floor. The new technology that has been used in the U19 World Cup, Women World Cup, so last year, 2023. We saw those, visuals and animations on the court back then. Now it came to the EuroLeague. Congrats to Panathinaikos for being the innovators in this, being the first EuroLeague team to have that floor. What did you guys think about it, and were you impressed?
I actually liked the thing you did. You say like you need to be in the arena to feel it. I saw that one video with an empty gym. All the green seats there made the arena look super fresh, super nice. Like it seemed like from that video, from the inside, it seemed like this is a new gym, The LED glass, I don't know. Maybe they're still trying to understand how to use it. I mean, during the game, it was not really something special. Some animations there when they make a shot, when they block
highlights,
it, but not that much. I mean, I saw the introduction, but the broadcast didn't really show the whole thing. So the thing that stands out to me is that LED glass is such a gray, dark color, and it's a little bit kind of weird. I don't know if I'm feeling that.
I don't know. I feel like on camera it looks different than it looks in real life, number one. But for me, it's the versatility of that technology. So I feel like they could change the color to whatever they want because they're projecting everything on there. For example, even the sponsors that they have on the court. This, it just eliminates the whole problem of going from domestic league to EuroLeague and having to peel the stickers, put different stickers on.
It eliminates a bigger problem. The players slipping on those logos.
Yeah.
And, we've seen so many highlights when players get crossed over, but they fall down not because they get crossed over, but just because they slip on those ads, or the logo. So I like that it eliminates that.
And plus, don't forget, like they are just starting out with this. So you said,
exactly.
Maybe not too many animations or whatever, but they already are implementing some things. The presentation I saw that when the Bayern team was being presented, there was the Bayern logo that comes out. All of these things. So I like that a lot, and I feel like with time they'll find new ways to implement these things. And I feel like that's going to be the new standard for basketball in terms of the floor of basketball courts in the future.
Could be. Well, since Panathinaikos has so many similarities with the Boston Celtics, I would love to see the floor in OAKA set like in Garden in Boston.
That pattern, you mean?
Yeah. It looks iconic in Boston. I think it would look awesome as well in Europe. They're also a green-colored team.
Yeah.
When you said similarities, I thought,
other similarities. Other similarities include championships, right?
Yeah.
But also, the colors, the logo,
right?
A lot of things are similar with Boston.
Fans are posting the same emojis on social media.
and what I do, you mean the clover, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
What I do like is also sort of the gamification aspect, making it into a video game, sort of the basketball, because I feel like that will attract more young people kids, who are growing up with this team. They'll enjoy these things. They'll definitely like seeing these
in general, stuff. I give a lot of credit for trying new things, like to try to improve the product that we have, because there are things changing and going in the right direction, and there are still things with our game that I don't like, and I addressed yesterday, which is again from the Istanbul derby. But I'm not sure if I should do a rant about this or not. because we're now talking about Panathinaikos.
It's about the 3-pointers from the other half court when you're
debating
for fouls.
Yeah, and was this the moment where it took 4 minutes for the refs to check it, right?
Man.
That one. Exactly.
Yeah. No, let's leave that alone. It's a known problem. Hopefully, I feel like our one of our journalists is writing an article on this today.
Oh,
so,
cool.
So
I'm looking forward.
We'll have some input on that topic. But talking about basketball now, Panathinaikos won their game again against the German team. What were, let's say, can you judge now better Panathinaikos after this game? Because we said maybe after Alba game it was hard to say what happened, but this was more of a dominant win.
But they did what you expect them to do. They beat the teams that they have to beat, and they did it convincingly. And everybody
looked better than last game.
Minutes. Of course, they played at home, first of all. It's their first home game. I think that is important. They're the champions right now, and we're not going to judge them based on games against Alba Berlin and Bayern Munich, with all due respect. What I can say so far is that, Jerian Grant is definitely becoming my favorite Panathinaikos player. I just love his energy on both sides of the floor, and he's a player I would love to have on my team if I'm a GM one day, and the rest, they're still clicking. The championship core, Matthias Lesor, Kendrick Nunn, everybody's performing at a high level. Juancho Hernan-Gomez is getting his confidence back, which I think is really important.
We gotta talk about him.
Yeah.
Last year, Juancho was one of those guys that we were saying, look at his salary and look at his output. And Ergin Ataman's minutes also reflected that. What do you think is happening this season? Of course, it's just 2 games, but so far he's playing the most minutes out of all these forwards, and he's playing well. You said maybe last game he was defensively not as solid as he was offensively. This time around, 12 points, 11 rebounds. What do you think? Is this a better sophomore year for him, or is this just a coincidental sort of stats?
When you hit a couple of shots, he's hitting so far 63% of his 3-pointers. It's just easier for you to play. I like his energy. I like how he's it seems like almost after every offensive rebound out there. So it gives him some easy points. Then you get into a rhythm. Then he gets a steal, makes a dunk, makes a 3-pointer. All these things are falling together in the right place. At the same time, just like we were saying about the whole team, we cannot judge Panathinaikos yet. They're dominant. For the first 2 games, I know it's not, the level of opponents is not at the same level like they are. And this is the most deep team, I think, in the EuroLeague at the moment. And I'm still waiting for, next week they will have to face Real Madrid, I think, in round 4 away. That's the game to watch. But
Real Madrid and then Fenerbahce. So the next
on Tuesday.
On Thursday, you mean? Fenerbahce.
Paris basketball on 15th of October. Real Madrid on 17th, and then on the 25th, Fenerbahce. Okay. So I think these 2 games in October are the ones to look forward to.
Because now they're dominating. They had plus 15 after 15 minutes, plus 17 after 15 minutes. I'm sorry. So it's just too easy for them. I mean, if you stop Slukas, if maybe Slukas looking a little bit slow to start, you have just Kendrick Nunn. You have so many options. I want to point the same thing that I pointed out after the first game. Like Kendrick Nunn and his defense, like he's such an amazing player on the offense, but in these first 2 games, he's just he has to move just at least a little bit on the defensive side. He just knows they will score more, and he knows they are a better team. He knows they're going to win, but when those games against Real Madrid and Fener comes, you don't want to have these bad habits of just relaxing.
That's NBA regular season mentality.
Exactly.
When you play for a good NBA team. Like right now, him playing for Panathinaikos and facing Alba Berlin and Bayern Munich is kind of the same thing if you play for the Boston Celtics and you're facing the Detroit Pistons and the Charlotte Hornets.
I wanted to guess the 2 names that you're going to. I had Pistons.
Well, in the Eastern Conference, it's kind of an easy choice to make.
Yeah.
But everything else is just. They're too good for these 2 teams that they met so far. So
obviously, again, all eyes on Lesor, but I'm gonna be the guy who's gonna shout out for second time in a row Omer Yurtseven, because I just love the guy, how he looks on the court. Not to repeat myself about them not having a backup center last year, but 12 minutes, 8 points, 4 rebounds, and just the athleticism, the length, and the agility he brings, and also sort of a IQ. Like, it's not, basketball IQ is sometimes you can think of about different things when you're talking about basketball IQ, but how he rolls at the right times, finds himself in the right positions offensively, and then defensively, we saw a really nice block that he can be a rim protector. I'm just loving what I'm seeing from Omer Yurtseven, and I so far am hoping that he's fine with the role he has, because he is going to play behind Lazard, and he is going to play way less minutes than maybe you would expect for an NBA player.
It's ridiculous that in the first 2 EuroLeague games, you have Yurtseven, Jedi Osman, Kostas Lukas, and Dinos Mitoglu, Yanis Papapetru, and Marius Grigonis. 6 players. All of these 6 players are averaging 13 or 14 minutes per game.
It is insane, especially for me, Mitoglu. And it's probably due to Juancho looking better this season,
Juancho's
right?
playing like
This is why you
22.
have a deep roster to survive the regular season and get as many wins as possible and have the players 100% ready for the playoffs.
Yep.
Right. Before we move on, I would just like to tell everyone watching to check out our new partner, Rabona. Down there, we have some bonus codes that you can find in the description below. Check them out, see the odds of the games, find what you like, and yeah, you'll find everything down there. Now we should move on to another very hot team, also undefeated, Crvena Zvezda, that has taken down Baskonia at home. And for the first time ever, if I'm not mistaken, in the EuroLeague history, they are 2-0. Does this fact surprise you guys? Because it definitely surprised me, considering how long they've been in the EuroLeague.
Do you want to do it, or should I do it?
I can always take the heat. I mean, they got a comeback win against EuroLeague newcomers, and they beat Baskonia at home. Does that sound amazing?
I mean, 2-0
it's
sounds
okay.
good.
You got the wins. I'm not saying it's bad. It's great. You won those games, but are you surprised?
Nope.
No, I was asking, are you surprised that they're 2-0 for the first time in history? Because this is an interesting question.
You
right?
mean, am I surprised that it never happened in the past?
Yeah. Considering how long they've been in the EuroLeague.
Maybe a little bit I'm surprised by the fact, but then again, you would have to compare the schedules.
And previous format as well.
Previous format.
Yeah.
And other stuff. So, okay, right now they are 2-0. 2 wins. They grinded the first win at home. They controlled the game more. I didn't have the chance to sit down and study their game so far. I'm only speaking from highlights, and so I'm not going to say much. I don't really even have a strong opinion about them so far. I'm just saying that you don't want to overhype the team that beats Paris Basketball, and they beat Baskonia at home. Baskonia is a good team, but they have the reputation of being a home team. They usually get most of their wins in Buesa. So, I mean, okay, they did what they have to do. At the same time, I see that they're losing in ABA League, so it's still a work in progress. It's still just the beginning.
So this win doesn't, or these 2 wins doesn't change your perspective on this team and where they rank in the power ranking or where they could end up.
They should be glad they got 2 wins. I mean, it's a great start. The team should feel way better. The belief should be there. It doesn't change much, of my opinion. I think their upside is still not that high. And I will point out one thing that I really enjoyed, and that was their game plan against Marcus Howard. We need to give credit to them for this. They switched all off-ball screens, and basically Baskonia couldn't bring Marcus Howard the ball. And he was just running around, standing there, not reaching the ball. And then after the set play is broken, you have guys like Trent Forrest or just Chima Moneke, just Baskonia leaning on one-on-one basketball, isolation, in an away game. That's not going to do it for you. And so I don't think Baskonia expected it, really. And it was a lot of dribble offense. And basically it won Zvezda the game. Because on the offensive side, they looked great in the first half because they made 7 threes out of 10 in the first 11 minutes. And they finished the game with only 10 made. So in the next 29 minutes, they made only 3 3-pointers. And actually, they made a lot of tough shots early. So I think it got them going. I think it was like Kalinic 3+1 standing ISO against Chima Moneke. And it was actually a 200 IQ move by someone from Zvezda, because I think maybe it was Boy. I don't remember exactly. But Boy just pushes Moneke, who is guarding Kalinic, while Kalinic is shooting. And Moneke bumps Kalinic for the foul. Kalinic makes the free. He goes to the line, it's an additional point. So that was fun to see. But a lot of tough shots that Zvezda make, it got them going. But I think their defense.
That's what we should talk about. And I feel like that's the difference from last season, even though we always see Zvezda as this defensive team. But you add Cody Miller-McIntyre, you add a dog on defense, even though maybe he's a little bit undersized, but he's really working on defense, Isaiah Cannon, and also Nikola Kalinic. 3 guys that your sort of backcourt, or okay, maybe Kalinic is a forward, but still your backcourt is now, let's say, reinforced on defense, and I feel like that's really felt. And on offense, although we were just saying we should talk about defense, I did want to say that Cody Miller-McIntyre has Isaiah Cannon on his side, so it's sort of similar like having Marcus Howard a little bit, because an undersized guard, shifty guard that you have on your side, who also attracts defense, and the same way that Cody can penetrate and attract defense and then kick it out to Cannon or someone else. I feel like it's a nice duo to have for them. And for Cannon, of course, it's a situation to redeem his stats, I guess, or his role in the EuroLeague, because we've seen him in Olympiacos having a much reduced role compared to what he did with Unix, for example, back in the day.
But last year, Isaiah was
he had some games, right? But
he had like 11 points average or 12. I think.
Yeah, it was all right.
But two seasons ago, he was like 6 points per game.
But I'm talking about minutes more, and the offense is running through him more now this season. Isaiah shot so many shots this game, and then there was sets on him.
I get what you're saying. Like, well, if you're signing for Olympiacos, you're gonna sacrifice some of your shots, your minutes. You're gonna play in that Barzokas equal opportunity system, but it leads to wins. Like you're a championship contender. But if you're not okay with that and you want just a bigger role and more trust, then you sign for a team like Zvezda, where you're probably not gonna win the EuroLeague, but obviously you're gonna play in a bigger role. And Cannon is capable of doing this. He has experience in Europe, a lot of experience, and also a strong mentality, a great scorer, and as you said, also undersized but a very aggressive and a very good defender.
Yeah.
And it's just, we shouldn't just hype Zvezda, I think, too much, just because they played Paris and Baskonia, much of the time, I don't really understand what their plan is on offense.
I feel like they're playing on the vibes, like especially at home. You get the vibes going, you get the shots going. But to be fair, this season with Pablo Laso, like I said last podcast, okay, maybe this game wasn't the good reflection of that, but I thought Marcus Howard is playing a bit more aggressive, like penetrating into the paint instead of taking those really wild shots. Now, like you said, defensively they switched, and I don't know if he could do that against Zvezda, but I'm not saying that, how to say, like it is a bit wild on Baskonia, but it's always been like that.
Well, brother is Baskonia, like they're playing like this for 20 or more years, and if things don't work for them, they will just call Dushko and eventually that
I don't think that's going to happen with last season.
It shouldn't, because Pablo Laso is a legend from Vitoria. I think he's going to have more time, even if the results are not going their way. But the roster doesn't seem bad, really. I mean, they have potential, but again, I expect them to win at home, not so much away. And talking about Zvezda and the hype, so if we would do power rankings weekly, we would probably put them in a higher position right now than we had them before the season. But the upcoming schedule for them is Fenerbahce away, Barcelona at home, Real Madrid away, Žalgiris away, Panathinaikos at home.
So 5 games after which we'll
I mean,
see how we're going to talk about him, right?
The tune can change like this. And in 3 weeks when we're doing a podcast, the theme will be, is Zvezda in trouble? So, you know, the way things are in EuroLeague.
You never know. Like, it might be.
I can do my prediction and say that from these games that I've mentioned, I see them picking up 1 win.
Against Žalgiris?
Barcelona? No, Barcelona
at home.
Barcelona at home would be my prediction.
Barca, yeah.
If they get at least 2, I will admit that it's a good position for them, because now you survive this really, really tough schedule. Now you're going to play Alba Berlin and improve your position in the standings. But my prediction is that they're going to get just 1 win from these 5 games.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay. All right. You're right. That's what I was going to say about their schedule. Next up, we had a game between Real Madrid and Partizan. If this was last season, this would have been sort of a rivalry game. But now Partizan has changed their roster completely. Real Madrid doesn't have Yabusele, who was the main instigator of the fight between punter, him, Exum, all those guys. Everyone's away in different teams, so this game didn't have that weight that we were used to now. But Madrid recovered from their unexpected loss against Bayern. I still think they don't look as convincing as last year. Obviously, they were dominating throughout the regular season. Meanwhile, Partizan is down 0-2 in the EuroLeague. There was a lot of hype before the season, but also a lot of uncertainty, I guess, about this team. So after these 2 games, what are your impressions about each of these teams?
See, this is where Zvezda fans shouldn't turn off our podcast, because, now we are going to compare the 2 Serbian teams. And
one is 0-2?
One is 0-2, the other one is 2-0, but I still think that the team that is 0-2 is going to finish the season higher. I just think their upside is higher. I like their defensive length. They're a really interesting team. They didn't, let's say, they were not far away from victory in Madrid, and both of their games were an away games, last week in Vitoria, this week in Madrid, and they were doing okay. They were near Madrid for the whole game, and I thought it was just, obviously it was a lot of thanks to their defense, although they made some mistakes, but it's Madrid, you're playing away, you are going to do mistakes, they are going to punish you with Campazzo's passing. I mean, he made some incredible passes yesterday. The one that was a no look. I think you all saw that on social media in the pick and roll. And the other one was with a diamond situation. Hezonja is under the basket. Nilikina is guarding him. Campazzo is near the half court. And Nilikina is not seeing the ball. And Campazzo is just throwing the ball like this, knowing that Hezonja will just score a layup easily. That was phenomenal. Classic Campazzo. I think he got like 11 assists yesterday. Assists. And Partizan is not an uncomfortable team to play. They're switching a lot with Tyreek Jones. He's been a monster in the first couple of games. And basically what got Madrid the victory was Xavier Rayton-Mays hitting insane shots and
step back threes.
That's what he's capable of. Off the dribble, insane shots. There were rumors about him already leaving the team. I mean, it's not true at the moment, but if these news are coming out, that means that something is not right in that locker room, because there were rumors about some fights with the veterans and stuff like that. So, but yesterday he was phenomenal on the defense, and basically his run of 2 threes, a steal, and another great moment defensively won Madrid the game. It was only a few players in Europe can make shots that he made yesterday in the 4th quarter.
And the free Facu movement finally worked. The man avoided his suspension.
How did that happen?
I guess he's playing for a different team this time around.
I think that basically there's still no official decision on that thing about his suspension, which makes the suspension delayed.
Okay, so until it's resolved,
yes, he can play, and once it is completely resolved, if it's, let's say, a 1-game ban, he's gonna miss some other game. But this is why he was cleared to play yesterday, which mixed things up for many EuroLeague fantasy players, because a lot of people have Campazzo on their teams. People drafted him as their first, second, or third pick in draft leagues, and now there's a red flag on him. So what do you need to do? Do you need to change him? And the news that he's going to play, they were announced only on game day, like a couple of hours before the deadline.
I was surprised.
But yeah, as I said, finally it's a W for the Free Facu movement.
2 years? 2 years after?
2 years after the movement started.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you have anything else to add about Real Madrid or Partizan, Rytis?
I think you said all the right things about Real Madrid, first of all.
That Dwayne Washington situation.
The Dwayne Washington situation.
Yeah. You made a video about it.
The video about that. Yeah.
So he got cut by the
Charlotte
Hornets.
Everything was sort of according to plan. Like this whole situation, they knew before letting him go that this is gonna happen. He's gonna go there. Although there was a uncertainty because of the not communicated 2 friendly games or preseason games that he's going to play. At first it was he's going there to do some medical checkups, sign some documents, and then the Partizan fans probably saw him in a Charlotte Hornets jersey, got a bit panicked, but everything was according to plan apparently, and now he's back with the team, so he's going to be playing next week.
So talking about Partizan, more of the same thing as with Zvezda. I didn't have the chance to study their game yet, but in my opinion, they will have a better schedule ahead of them, because Zvezda, they're facing 5 really tough games. Partizan now will have Bayern Munich at home, Maccabi at home, Virtus at home, Monaco at home. This is the remaining schedule for October. And I honestly believe they can get at least 3 wins from these 4 games, if not go on a winning streak. So with the potential they have on that roster, and Željko is using the depth so far, I think they will be really strong this season. But in the beginning, they faced Spanish teams. They lost. Who doesn't lose in Madrid? Like, very rarely you get some wins there in Visiting Center, even though Madrid right now doesn't look as scary as they did a year ago.
Yeah,
it's Pau now. Pau is the new Real Madrid of last year.
And let's admit, Olympiacos, once they're all healthy and they're all playing.
True, because from what I saw preseason and the first game,
today they will play their first game at home.
Yeah, it's going to look different.
Might leave a different impression on us. Fenerbahce was better in the first game, but today, Žalgiris, again, a solid team. Let's not underrate Žalgiris.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy for Olympiacos, but again, we have another look at them, and it's going to be different when they have Milutinov and Fall, or at least one of them.
Game changers. Yeah. Game changers.
We'll get to talk about Olympiacos, I feel like, next week more, because so far it's been that the schedule has allowed us to talk about other teams. We'll get to talk about Olympiacos after one of those games next week. Another 2 teams that we haven't spoken about at all so far is Monaco and Maccabi. There's different things we can talk about. We could talk about the game that you were commentating, right?
Yeah.
During his own birthday, Monaco, Maccabi. That's like 2 favorite Rytis teams.
Maccabi is not anymore.
Yeah, no. Maccabi is not on my radar anymore. I mean,
but when making the schedule, the EuroLeague didn't know how Maccabi would change, so they just looked, it's Rytis' birthday, it's Monaco Maccabi. In Monaco. Preferably, we might even ask him to do the broadcast from there. But you declined, right?
For sure.
You would have taken Fenerbahce here, probably. Fenerbahce against Monaco.
I mean, give me Maccabi with Baldwin, Lorenzo, and Bonzi Carlsen, and we have a different topic. You're giving me Maccabi with Tamir Blat, Rokas Jokubaitis,
Jordan Loyd.
I'm not that excited.
Was playing.
So it was a Jordan Loyd game. For him, it was a really comfortable game to play, because you travel to Monaco, you play the game, you sign a contract, you change teams, you don't need to go anywhere else.
Hey, let's talk about the situation.
And the new rule, it's like he can play immediately.
Yes.
So that's nice, because I thought at first, is he going to wait until New Year to actually play again in the EuroLeague? That would be wild. Now with the new rule, he can join immediately.
It's a game changer, because we remember in the past that you had a certain date, and I think it was before the first EuroLeague round. I think you had to change teams. You can't play a game for one team and then switch and then play for the other team right away.
It's 30th of December this
year. And now it's 30th of December. Very different. He communicated his message to the fans that it was due to the situation in Israel. A lot of players are not coming back to Israel. They're staying in Serbia, in Belgrade. And I don't know, what do you guys think about this, Maccabi situation at the moment? Do you think they can keep playing in the EuroLeague until the end of the season? Because it's so uncertain.
Well, they're playing in Belgrade, and other teams can travel to Belgrade safely, and there's not a problem.
Do you think they'll keep the roster though? Because
I don't think they're going to be very competitive this season, even though they will sign a replacement for Jordan Loyd. They've
already signed. No,
it's not official yet.
Oh, it's not official. Okay.
They're, as we know, they're probably going to bring in Saben Lee. But it's not official yet. Mm-hmm. Although his Wikipedia page already presents him as a Maccabi player.
Nikola Mirotic was playing for Partizan and Zvezda last year. So, according to Wikipedia.
I don't see them being very competitive in EuroLeague this season, honestly. I'm not going to spend much time talking about their situation because everything is really obvious.
Mm-hmm. They're going to be great for fantasy, though.
Jaciel Rivero is great at the moment, being their only center. And they're not very expensive. So the idea was probably to have Jordan Loyd as your star player. Yeah. And now he's leaving in early October with 2 games played. So it's hard. It's going to be really hard to find a replacement. But also I understand Jordan Loyd perfectly, and he explained everything himself. It's a decision he made because of his loved ones.
Yeah.
They wanted to feel safe. They wanted him to be safe, and he felt this is the right thing to do for his family, and I respect that. Financially, as he explained, this is not even a good decision for him, but it's just the right decision for his family. And for Monaco, it's a no-brainer.
Is it? That's what I was going to ask you. Do you think it's a good fit for him to come back?
Of course, because he played there and everything was good.
He knows everything.
He knows everything. He knows the coach. He knows how to play next to Mike James. He knows most of the guys. And this game against Maccabi, for example, they played without Kalates and Korkmaz. So you have only 3 guard rotation. You have Okobo, Strazel, and Mike James. So you put Jordan Loyd in that situation, and it helps the team so much. And Jordan Loyd looks really prepared for this season. I mean, even against his former team, he was really good, even though he knew that he's going to leave Maccabi after that game. So, of course, it's a good signing for Monaco. And they signed a thing until 2026, so it's a 2-year deal.
This is crazy.
It's a bit awkward, though. You leave the team and you come back a month later almost, it seems.
It's not awkward. It's just
weird.
Odd. It's not happening often.
It's odd. It's odd. Let's say it's odd.
Yeah. And, talking about Monaco and that game, I think they're playing at 60% right now or something like that.
If not less.
They got 2 wins at home against Milan and Maccabi. That game against Maccabi, the first half was really bad. I mean, the energy was not there. Sloppy plays, players missing open shots, not doing their assignments defensively. I think Mike James is still getting into his rhythm. Now he played more minutes and he had some great plays, but it's obvious he had an injury before the start of the season. Now Sasha Obradović is playing with 2 bigs, which is interesting.
It's so weird.
Gytis and Dimo in the starting lineup.
Dimo just standing there as a power forward in the corner.
Well, he's getting open looks and he can hit some of those shots. But defensively, it's hard because
it's interesting.
The pick and roll defense with 2 bigs is so difficult to contain, and Maccabi got so many easy points in the first half.
I just don't understand why they're signing power forwards that are actually promising and they're not playing them. Obviously, the
Vito
coaches,
Brown?
Yeah, Vito Brown. And Cornelia last year, he was getting 5 minutes a game. And
he's still on the roster. He's not playing.
He's still on the roster, and I know they have high hopes on both of these guys. I mean, they signed him for those reasons to stretch the floor.
Well, Blossom game plays a little bit as a 4, but the thing is you sign those 3 bigs. You have Gytis, Dimo, and Papagiannis. And there are some good things offensively when you play with Gytis and Demo. They were crashing the boards. They were getting offensive rebounds. They scored a lot from the paint. And Gytis, so far with 2 games played, has really good averages. But I'm not so sure if that's the best idea when you're going to face really talented teams like Panathinaikos, Real Madrid, and the rest.
And they won't face any really talented teams for a while. If I look at the roster, next game is against Barca away. Then they play Virtus at home. Then they play Paris at home. Then they play Partizan away. Maybe that's one of those games.
So in the meantime, things might change. I mean, Sasha Obradovic is a very experienced, smart coach. So he knows what he's doing. I trust him. At the moment, they're playing with 2 bigs against other teams. They might not do it so much. But Jordan Loyd just improves their guard rotation because we're not sure when we're going to see Nick back on the court. And Furkan Korkmaz is an off-ball player. It's a different thing with him. He's a shooter.
Yep.
You're running sets for him.
Yeah, Monaco is figuring it out, and I would love to know what Sasha Obradovic is seeing during those practices with these new guys. But they're EuroLeague rookies, so Vito Brown is a EuroLeague rookie, so he has to, I think, figure out a couple of things him as well. But I just hope he's back into the rotation.
I'll give a bold prediction that they will be 7-0 to start the season.
So. I don't think so.
Now,
looking at the
next game in Barca?
Yeah.
It's tough to win in Barca.
That's my
It's
bold.
tough to win in Barcelona.
They will have Partizan in Stark Arena. They will have Žalgiris and Kaunas.
I know, but I just those two games.
It's cool that you have a prediction.
And the second game
That
in the
they're
double
already
week.
2-0.
Even me, as the biggest OAKA team fan in Europe,
I could give them definitely 5-0.
So.
Then 5-0. Until the Partizan game, I'm kind of confident in their.
What's their double week?
So it's
Next week it's
Barca and Virtus.
I'm not so sure about this Barcelona game.
Okay.
Nah, me too. Me neither.
I said it's a bold prediction. That's
4-3
It's cool,
after.
so I'm here to give a different perspective.
You gave a prediction for Zvezda and for
that's
Partizan.
cool. That's cool.
I'm giving one
like
for
I said,
Monaco.
I would love for that to happen because I support Monaco. They're my favorite team, but
Sure.
See, there's one upside without Donatas in this podcast. Everybody's giving predictions because if he was here, he would be all diplomatic and shit.
That's true.
And I think we'll have a great game, and
Both teams are
I love both
going
teams,
to
man.
be
I love-
competitive.
shout out to Donatas. We love you, man.
From what's left this week, or today, let's say, I feel like the biggest game is in Paris. Olympiacos taking on Žalgiris. The other 2 games are Barcelona versus Alba and Milan versus Paris. Let's be honest, guys. We're watching only one of these games, right? One of the 3.
We are both working. Oh no, Rytis, are you
Today, yes.
commentating
Žalgiris?
Žalgiris?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
so that's just logical, and I'm gonna watch that game too. So
On which platform though?
Your competitors, I guess. EuroLeague TV, EuroLeague TV
Oh,
with the English commentators.
Okay.
I don't care that much if you watch me or listen
me
to me or not.
Me neither.
So
It
August
It was a trick question.
is on a different channel, and I believe that. I mean, even if I was in a position to watch right now, I would watch on Lithuanian television just to listen to you because I haven't had the chance yet. No, I'm just being honest. I never had a chance to actually listen to you on a broadcast because I'm always working on the same thing, and I don't.
You're always commentating.
Yeah.
I mean, it's either football, basketball. If Rytis is not here in the podcast,
This season
it's
I'm more
he's
flexible.
commentating.
This season I'm not taking Žalgiris games every single week. So I have a more flexible schedule to choose which games I prefer. And this maybe puts me in a position that there's going to be one evening where I will be at home and I will be able to listen.
That's it, guys. I feel like we've talked plenty, about an hour and a bit. Thank you guys for listening, for watching. Make sure to like this video, this episode. Also subscribe and leave your comments about Rytis' facial hair. Thank you.